Welcome friends to another free crochet pattern from Celtic Llama. Today's pattern we are going to be crocheting Spin the Spider and his beautiful little web. Let me show you what you need in order to get started for this project. For this project you are going to need purple yarn in medium weight. You are going to also need white yarn in medium weight, or any weight of yarn you feel like using. You're just going to need some scissors, doesn't matter what kind, just as long as they cut. Then you're going to need 2 purple pipe cleaners that are about 12 inches long. You can cut, and you will be folding these in half and cutting them later to give the spider its legs. Then you're going to need 2 4mm safety eyes in color red or black, whichever color eyes you have available. And also the safety backings as well to make sure that we can snap them safely in place. Then you're going to need a size 4mm or size G crochet hook for this project. You're also going to need a tapestry needle so we can sew the spider body shut later. You're going to need stuffing of your choosing. For this video, I'm using some polyester fiber fill. You do not need a lot for this one because we are just lightly stuffing the spider. We don't want him to be too pudgy. Last but not least, I'm going to be using a green stitch marker, just some string. You can use whatever kind of stitch marker you want to use. So to start off, we are going to work on Spin the Spider's little spider web. And for this, you're not going to need a stitch marker. We're going to be crocheting in the round. And of course, I have my supervision here. We have my cat Zazel. She is going to be popping in and out of this video because she needed to supervise. Just like with all of my other free crochet videos, you are going to be watching this in real time, so you can sit here and crochet along with me if you feel like it, or you can start and pause it however you would like to end up watching this, but I just wanted to show you how long this takes. This video is only about 30 minutes, so it's a pretty quick project. For round 1, you are going to start off by chaining 5. Then you are going to work a double crochet into the magic ring, which is going to be the last chain from the hook. Then you are going to chain 2. You are going to repeat this 5 times. So it's going to be chaining 5, then in the last chain from a hook or the magic ring, however you want to look at it, you're going to do a double crochet followed by chaining 2. Again, this is repeated 5 times, and then you will join with a slip stitch into the 3 chain space from the beginning. Now that we have our center part done, let's go ahead and jump into round 2. Round 2, you're going to start off by chaining 8. Then you're going to work a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and then you're going to chain 2. Then you're going to go straight into the repeat, which is going to be double crochet into the next stitch, so that's going to be the double crochet from the row below. Chain 5, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 2. This is repeated 5 times. Then you will be working a chain 5, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, chain 2, and then join with a slip stitch at the 3rd chain space from the beginning of the row. No, I know this sounds like a lot, but once you kind of get the first 2 parts of the repeat done, you kind of end up getting a nice flow to it. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat everything that needs to be done for this. You're going to start off by chaining 2. Then you're going to work a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and then you're going to chain 2. Then you're going to start the repeat, which is going to be double crocheting into the next stitch, chaining 5, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and then chaining 2. This is repeated 5 times. Then you're going to chain 5, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, chain 2, and join with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. You can see how the spider web is starting to take its shape. All right, round 3. We are going to start off by chaining 6. Then you are going to double crochet into the same space as the slip stitch from the previous row. So right where you started, you're going to work a double crochet into that spot. Then you are going to chain 6, and then you will work a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook and chain 3. Then you are going to do a repeat of double crocheting into the next stitch, followed by chaining 3, double crocheting into that same space of the last double crochet, then chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. This is repeated 5 times, and then you'll finish off by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, chaining 3, and then joining with a slip stitch at the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. Now again, this seems like a lot, so go ahead if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, pause the video and kind of look at how the pattern is written out. Again, once you kind of get the flow of it, it starts being really easy. So again, let's go ahead and go over what we have to do for round 3. Round 3, you're going to start off by chaining 6. Then you're going to double crochet into the same space as the slip stitch of where you joined from the previous row. Then you are going to chain 6 and slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook and then chain 3. Then we will jump into the repeat, which is going to be double crocheting into the next stitch, chaining 3, double crocheting into the same space as the last double crochet, chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. This is repeated 5 times. Then you're going to finish off this round by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, chaining 3, and then joining with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. You're doing fantastic. We only have a couple more rows to go and then the spider web is done. Coming into round 4, we are going to start off by chaining 3. Then we are going to work 4 double crochets into the chain 3 space from the row below. Then you are going to chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 3. Then we're going to jump straight into the repeat, which is going to be working 5 double crochets in the chain 3 space from the row below, chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 3. This is repeated 5 times. Once those repeats are all done, you are going to finish off by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, chaining 3, and joining with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. This is really where the spider web starts really taking its shape. So let's go over what you need to do for round 4 one more time. You're going to start off by chaining 3, and then you are going to work 4 double crochets into the chain 3 space from the row below. Then you are going to chain 6. Then slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and then chain 3. From there, we're going to jump into the repeat, which is going to be working 5 double crochets into the chain 3 space from the row below, chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. This is repeated 5 times. Then to finish off, you will chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 3. Then you will join that with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. Now the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row is the first 3 chains that we did. So just to make sure that we're clear on where we're going with that. So you got this. Go ahead and just sit back and relax while you crochet along. Your spider's web is turning out fabulous. I'm very proud of you. Keep going. We have one more row and then we are done with it. All right, last round, round 5. Now this one's going to be just a little bit more complicated than the last 2 rounds, so let's go ahead and cover this together. You're going to start off by chaining 4, and then you're going to do a repeat of double crocheting into the next stitch, followed by chaining 1. This is repeated 3 times. Then you are going to double crochet into the next stitch, chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 3. Then we are going to go into the repeat. Now there is a repeat within the repeat, so let's go ahead and cover that. You're going to start off with double crocheting into the next stitch and chaining 1. This is repeated 4 times. Then you will double crochet into the next stitch, chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chain 3. And that is repeated the full thing 5 times. So you're going to do the first of double crocheting into the next stitch, chaining 1, which is repeated 4 times, and then the double crocheting into the next stitch, chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. That first part and the second part, that whole thing is repeated 5 times. Then you will finish off the whole entire work by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, chaining 3, and then join with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space from the beginning of the row. Now I know this is a lot, so let's go ahead and cover it a little bit slower. You're going to start off by chaining 3, pretty straightforward. Then you are going to go into a small little repeat. It's going to be a double crochet into the next stitch, followed by chaining 1. This is repeated 3 times. Then you are going to double crochet into the next stitch, followed by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. So far, very, very easy. Then this is where it kind of gets a little bit more complicated because you have a repeat within your repeat. So let me break this down for you. What you are doing is from the previous row where you did 5 double crochets into a chain 3 space, what we are doing for the first part of this repeat is you're going to be working a double crochet into the next stitch followed by chaining 1, and that's repeated 4 times. So you are going to be double crocheting into each of the double crochets from the previous row, and then you're leaving the last one. The last one of that set of 5 from the previous row is going to start off the rest of the repeat, which is going to be double crocheting into that stitch, followed by chaining 6, slip stitching into the 3rd chain from the hook, and chaining 3. Then you're going to repeat this whole entire segment 5 times. then chain 6, slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, chain 3, and join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the beginning of the row. Once you finish off with that, go ahead and fasten off your yarn and weave in your loose ends, and you have finished the spider web. Alright, now let's start working on Spin the Spider. For round 1, you are going to chain 6 single crochets into the magic ring. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my piece of string for my stitch marker. You can use whatever you'd like for a stitch marker, or you can opt out. It's your personal choice. For round 2, I'm going to be increasing into each stitch, which will give us a stitch count of 12. So how you end up increasing, if you need a little bit of help with that, is just working 2 single crochets into every single stitch around. Round 3, we are going to work a single crochet into the next stitch, followed by increasing in the following stitch. This is repeated 6 times, and it'll end up giving you a stitch count of 18. Round 4, you are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, followed by increasing in the next stitch. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 24. Round 5, you are going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, followed by an increase in the following stitch. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 30. Round 6, you are just going to single crochet in every single stitch in the round, and again you'll end up with a stitch count of 30. Now that you have finished round 6, we are going to attach the safety eyes. So you go ahead and grab your 2 safety eyes and you're going to put them between rows 5 and 6. So I'm just kind of counting where my rows are at, trying to get an idea. That's what I love about my stitch marker, is that it kind of makes it easier to count my rows. So we're going to go ahead and locate what row we want to put it in, and we are going to insert our safety eyes. Again, we have the cat coming in for some supervision to make sure that everything is going according to her plan. Because we all know we work hard so our cats can have better lives. Cat's life is so hard, sleeping all day. So we go ahead and insert the eyes 5 stitches apart. Take a gander at it, make sure you like where the eyes are, because once you put the backs on them, they are stuck there. Unless you want to cut the backs off of them, which, ask me how I know that's the thing. Oh, we've all put our safety eyes in the wrong spot, only to realize after we've put the backs on that it's in the wrong spot. Such is life. All right, let's go ahead and keep on going into round 7. For round 7, you are going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, followed by a single crochet into together, or the decrease. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 24. So if you're not sure how to do a decrease, it's no worries. You're going to do your first 3 single crochets like business as usual. Then for a decrease, you're going to insert your hook like you're going to do a regular crochet and just pull through the loop and leave that on your hook. And then you're going to take your crochet hook and put it into the next stitch, pull through the loop. So then you'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then you pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you do a decrease. Round 8, you are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, followed by single crocheting 2 together, again, or decreasing, however you want to call it. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 18. Round 9, you are going to single crochet in the next stitch, followed by single crocheting 2 together. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 12. Now you want to go ahead and set aside your hook for just a slight second, and you're going to grab whatever stuffing you decided to pick and lightly stuff the body of the spider. Again, don't overstuff it because we want him to be kind of squishy, not fluffy. Here we are on round 10, the final round for this spider. We are going to single crochet 2 together in every single stitch. Well, for the most part, you know how this goes. This is repeated 6 times and will give you a stitch count of 6. Then what you want to do is go ahead and leave a long tail so we can use that to sew the end shut. Go ahead and cut your yarn, fasten it off, and we are going to grab our tapestry needle next. And just a side little safety note, if you're going to be using scissors near your animals, just make sure you're safe and make sure you always put the safety cap back on if it needs one. That way no one gets poked or hurt from your scissors. Alright, so I've cut my yarn and I am just fastening off my work. Then I am going to grab my tapestry needle and sew the spider shut. Now the way I end up liking to sew everything shut is I kind of like to take a broader stitch. That way I'm kind of grabbing loops a little bit farther out. That way it kind of gives it a nice flatter bottom and I'm not pulling too tight. I'm kind of just weaving the yarn in and out until the hole is closed. Now that we have the spider finished and our strings cut, he looks adorable. So let's go ahead and grab our pipe cleaners and go ahead and get the legs in him, and spin the spider will be done. So for the pipe cleaner, I am using a 12-inch pipe cleaner. I'm just going to fold it in half and then I am going to cut it. So that one turns into 2. And I should have had better scissors than what I had because these really were struggling with it. That's my fault, but I was too lazy to find other scissors. The crafting life where it's like, I can make what I have near me work instead of getting up. So go ahead and do that with the other pipe cleaner as well. That'll give us a total of 4 pieces. Then what you're going to do is you're going to locate the center of Spin the Spider for his little bottom. And then you are going to take your pipe cleaner and kind of give it a nice little hook. So I'm going to insert my hook right there. So I'm slightly forward from the center of the spider. I'm going to hook my pipe cleaner around my crochet hook and just pull the whole thing through. Makes it super easy. Then I'm going to kind of unfluff this and make sure it's kind of the legs are even if enough, I suppose. Then for the center ones, we are going to bend the pipe clean 2 of them together, flip them back over, and where the center of his body is at, or close enough, we are going to insert our hook again behind the front leg. And we are going to hook our 2 pipe cleaners onto the crochet hook. You could do this one at a time, but faster. Pull both of those through. And pull them kind of even. And then we'll do this one more time with the set of the back legs. And that'll just be slightly behind where the center of the legs are. So you can kind of play around with where you want the placement for the legs to end up looking. I kind of just eyeballed this, of where I felt like the center of the spider was at. So just kind of take your time with it and unflare its legs. All right, we are almost done. Next, we need to make sure that all the legs are kind of even with each other to the best of your ability. And then we are going to fold them down slightly. I'm using my thumb to kind of just give them a nice little bend. And then at the feet, at the end of the pipe cleaner, I am folding it flat. So I'm just kind of fluffing with how I like the curve and then folding the legs flat at the end to kind of give it those nice little feeties. And since these are pipe cleaners, you can kind of bend them whatever way you want. Now that we have that done, then I'm just going to pull the back legs back, the front legs front, and then just kind of space out the two middle legs. And voila, we have finished Spin the Spider and his adorable little web that he's going to sit on. This honestly is a super fun project, and I hope that your Spin the Spider turned out just as cute. Well, that's it for this month's free crochet pattern. Hopefully your Spin the Spider turned out adorable. I'm sure it will. Now, if you're looking for a written copy of this pattern, I do have a link in the description below to my Etsy site. I have the pattern for sale there for just a couple of dollars. It's up to you what you want to do. If you want to watch it on YouTube, if you want to get a pattern, it's up to you. I'm just wanting to give everybody some nice, fun projects to be able to do and have it be accessible. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I make free crochet patterns once a month. I look forward to seeing you in the next crochet pattern video. Have a happy crochet day.